And welcome to the program. It's another edition of Behind the Law right here on ESPN 580 Orlando. Thank you for spending your evenings here with us, 8 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday. We follow live, local, loud, Nicky football, celebrating an anniversary with the station this week. We're also on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. and 2 TV shows every weekend as well. 12:30 p.m. on CBS on Saturday mornings, or afternoon, I guess, technically. It's morning for some people, but technically it's the afternoon. It's You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. And then Sunday, it is this show, Behind the Law, but it's Behind the Law on television, 10 a.m. on TV 27. You can also interact with us if you follow at Behind the Law Radio on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch the radio show and comment on it right there as well. Directly to my right, back and better than ever, it is the beautiful Brianna. Hello, Brianna. How are you?
Hello, Justin. Awesome. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Do you think new Brianna's coming back? I mean, she's had some family issues, I guess, but she's coming back, right?
Yes, to my knowledge, she is coming back. She better.
I sure hope so. We got a very special show for you today. We're going to do some news. We'll also play Stump the Clarkie in the second half hour, and then we will talk all things commercial real estate with commercial real estate agent Jeremy Sisson of Evan James and Associates. Look, if you're a business owner, for some reason as business owners, we think that it's just more natural to rent our business. We always think, if you're going to buy a house or you're buying a house, you need somewhere to live, but when it's your business, we want to rent. Why is that? And oftentimes I think it makes more sense to actually purchase the real estate, because if you're going to go sell the property later, even selling your business with real estate is oftentimes a much better way to sell, and you can really increase the value of your business by owning the real estate also. Brianna, did you watch any basketball last night or no?
I didn't, but Twitter was blowing up. Couldn't take 2 swipes without seeing, what was going on in real time.
It was a good game, but I will tell you, in the sports world, now this time of year, it gets a little bit stagnant. Look, we all like to watch a little baseball here and there, but it's not like we're planning our weekends around it,
This is true.
And now we have, 3 months until football season. So now's a good time to, spend some time with your families for weekends and other things.
And nights.
I will tell you, that it's the U.S. Open this weekend, which is a golf tournament, Brianna, just so you know.
First of all, I knew that.
Okay. And also Father's Day. So we wanted to say happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. And look, one of the best gifts you can give us is feed us on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And if Tiger Woods is in contention, let us watch some golf. That's really a great gift. Maybe a card.
Gift that keeps on giving.
That's really all that I need.
Do you have plans for Father's Day? What do you guys normally do?
So we talk about this almost every holiday, Brianna, but we always have intentions of going to some kind of brunch. And then by Saturday night or Sunday morning, we're like, dude, we're not battling those crowds, And we always end up with some sort of barbecue at our own house.
The Clark family, the family that hates reservations.
But this weekend, or this Father's Day on Sunday, we actually are going to a friend's house for a barbecue. So this will be my first sort of joint Father's Day. It's like 3 or 4 of my good friends who are fathers and their kids and wives and things.
That's good.
What do you think is right? What should I take to a party like that? I mean, do I call in advance and say, what would you like? Or do I just naturally take some things with me? What is the proper way to go to
when you say some things, like Justin Clark water bottles, or what do we...
You know how I'm not going to do that.
Do it.
I don't love myself quite that much,
But
even though you may
water.
disagree. But what is proper? So this is a barbecue. So it's not like a fancy dinner. We're going to their house for a barbecue.
This is true.
What is the proper gift and or food or beverage I should take?
Well, typically you could ask what to bring, but when in doubt, just bring a bottle of something.
Yeah.
They're never going to say no.
What about food? I mean, you don't bring your own food, right?
Well, no, because then you have to assume what the menu is going to be. Like, what if you bring potato salad and they're like, no, it's seafood. Then you kind of got to guess about what... Then it get awkward. It get awkward really quick.
The same guy who's actually throwing the party, I was just having a conversation with him about this maybe 2 weeks ago, and he was making fun of a friend of his who would invite him over for barbecues and say, look, bring your own steaks, man. We'll have a barbecue at my house. And he was like giving the guy, grief or whatever you can say on terrestrial radio. And so I don't think I'm supposed to bring my own food, just based on how he was talking about his buddy.
Don't bring your own plate, no. That's not
I think maybe a nice bottle of wine, something like that.
Something like that, or wine or any other
Good deal.
thing.
Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando, Justin Clark joining you here this evening. Brianna's to my right, And to my left, very special guest. He's been on the show 2 times before. I think this is your 3rd appearance? No.
I believe so.
Maybe even 4th. Maybe you came with someone else. Anyway, without further ado, Jeremy Sisson joins us. He is with Evan James and Associates. Jeremy, you focus mostly on commercial real estate. And a lot of people out there, especially who haven't really dove into the commercial real estate world, will say, look, a real estate agent's an agent. I mean, whether I'm buying a house or a commercial property, same thing. They're all realtors out there. Is that true?
I would like to say yes, but it's not. Commercial real estate's a different animal than residential real estate. There's a lot of moving pieces, whether you're doing a lease deal, you're doing a purchase, so it just depends.
So why? What are the differences? Why do I need a commercial agent if I'm going down the commercial path, and why do I need a residential agent down the residential path?
The residential agent's more boilerplate. There's a FAR bar contract that you can use. Commercial real estate, it's really a couple high net worth individuals, and they're having a conversation with their attorneys and all of their handlers about what specifically they want to negotiate. So there's 15 to 20 points that are typically negotiated on anything.
Tell me about cap rate. You know, everyone is always coming up to me saying, "Oh, Justin, I'm gonna getting back into the real estate world. I'm gonna start investing, but my agent keeps telling me about this cap rate."
Right.
What is that?
That basically is the capitalization ratio. In essence, if you are utilizing debt, that is basically it helps you from across the board figure out what your return is on the property. So whether it's an investment property, a multifamily, whatever it is, it's basically your net operating income, and it's divided by your purchase price.
So what do I want my cap rate to be? What's good?
You want the cap rate to be as high as possible. Mm-hmm. So a 10 cap, 12 cap, 15 if you can find it. But the problem is those aren't available. So typically most investors will look, depending on the property type, anywhere between a 4 cap and an 8 or 9.
I think we all understand if we invest in a stock or a mutual fund, at the end of the year, you made 8% on your money. Is it a similar sort of concept with cap rate? I mean, are you making 8% on your money if it's an 8 cap rate or what?
Yes, and that's kind of a good way to look at it, but that's before pre-tax because everybody's tax liability is different. So what happens is they go what's called above the line, and the cap rate is based on the net operating income before you start getting into your tax liability. So to answer your question, yeah, it kind of it's a good standard candle to use.
What do you think is more safe for me? Let's say I'm trying to park some money somewhere. Do you think I should park it in commercial real estate or should I go park it in a stock?
Well, I'm a commercial real estate broker, so I'm absolutely going to tell you park it in commercial real estate. Because that's something that I know, and I know the stock market has been they've been pretty good over the last 50 to 100 years in an 8 cap. But if you really, really want to make something above 8, go into commercial real estate.
And would you consider it a safe investment, commercial real estate, and what are some of my risks?
No, absolutely. It's a great investment because you have an underlying asset. So with a stock, they are subject to market fluctuations, right? Whereas commercial real estate, you have an underlying asset no matter what.
Biggest risk?
If you are highly leveraged with debt and then there's a market downturn, then potentially you could be underwater for a while. But the thing is, it's a cash flowing property. So all you have to do is wait out the turn.
What about if I'm buying a sort of a multi-unit commercial property? What sort of occupancy rate am I looking for that is still considered good?
Well, you want the occupancy rate as high as possible, obviously. 100% would be great with a waiting list. That being said, the standard is typically, depending on the type of property, if it's an A class, you're 90 to 95% occupied because you always have some turn with the tenants. B class is going to be about that, maybe a little lower. And then C class, a little lower than that.
What sort of leases do I normally have? If I'm buying a commercial property and I have multiple units there, how long are my leases normally?
Usually a year, and then they go month to month thereafter.
Okay, gotcha. You know, I'm always really interested in business owners who are renting, especially like a long term, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant, whatever, and you've been in the same location renting your office space for so long, and you've never even considered buying it or buying a commercial space for you to run your business out of. I'm always curious why we don't think of that as an option, or even if we think of it as an option, why we don't do it. Let's talk about the benefits for you business owners out there of actually buying the building you operate your business out of. We'll do that right on the other side of this break. It is Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando.
You have to talk right into the mic. Like, you're like want to look.
It was too far off.
No, like if you look, it changes your voice.
All right.
You guys need some fans back here. Some fans
You know,
in
it's
the
weird.
corner.
Some days it's really hot. Some days it's cold, and we have no idea. We just don't know.
Well, that's the landlord's job.
We're about to buy.
I heard.
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Welcome back to the program. Justin Clark here with you on ESPN 580 Orlando. The beautiful Brianna is directly to my right, and just across from her to my left is Jeremy Sisson, commercial real estate agent with Evan James and Associates. What is Evan James? Is this like some national gig, or are you guys local?
Local boutique brokerage.
Okay, gotcha. How long you been around?
About 6 years.
So let's get right to it. Let's use me as an example. I own a law firm, obviously, right?
Yep.
And actually, before I moved into this building almost 5 years ago now, I owned my own building. So I was sort of, paying the mortgage instead of rent. And then we just got big fast, and we had to get bigger space. So now we've been leasing this unit here for 5 years. So essentially, I've been paying rent, from the business to someone else for 5 years. And really, I don't have anything to show for it. I've got a good business that's running. But would it have been better for me to, instead of going from the place I owned to renting this one, to have just bought a bigger building? Would I be in a better position now?
Probably so.
And why is that?
Well, obviously you have some write-offs for the mortgage and for the interest, but you would have some appreciation in the building as well. Not to mention, if you're not taking up the whole building, you could rent the other spaces out for cash flow too.
Are there any tax benefits to renting versus buying your commercial space?
Yeah, there's definitely. Well, I'm not an accountant, so
All right.
I'm not going to say
You
consult.
don't have to give me tax advice, but what's your general understanding of how the taxation works with renting versus buying?
From the CPAs that I've talked with, they say definitely buy because they can do more with that from the IRS perspective. That's all I'll say.
And do people typically like to structure it to where the actual space is its own business, or do they normally buy it under their business? Let's say Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, my law firm. If I were to go buy a commercial space right now, would I buy it under Attorneys Justin Clark and Associates, or should I buy it, you think, under a different name, and then Justin Clark and Associates rents it from that other name?
I would make sure, no matter what, you have it under an LLC or an Inc.
Yeah.
Just make sure there's that extra hedge of protection for sure.
And so I imagine there are maybe a few other additional expenses that come with buying your unit versus renting. And what are some of the additional expenses when you're the owner?
Well, if you're the owner, anything that happens with the building is it's basically on your dime. And then you have the tenant's responsibility. Anything outside of the building is also on you as well. So there's a little bit more risk when you talk about the risk of owning a building. That is the risk, is it's on you, right? Any expenses, if something happens with a parking lot and you need to resurface, if the roof needs to be replaced, all of these things are on you.
When you are renting still, we always hear this nasty 3-letter term called CAM.
Right.
What is CAM when you're renting office space or commercial space in general?
CAM is common area maintenance, and it's basically a pro rata share with all the other tenants in this space to basically take the taxes, the insurance, and anything else that the landlord has to pay. They basically say, here's all my expenses on a yearly basis. Let's divide this up by 12. Let's take the pro rata share of what your square footage is, and that's what the CAM charge is.
All right, good deal. All right, so let's say I'm tired of paying CAM. I'm tired of paying rent to someone else. I want to move this law firm into a building that I own again. If I want to go buy a house, I can pretty much tell you what my interest rate is going to be right now. If I go buy a house now, I can pretty much tell you what my down payment's going to be. But commercial seems to be a little bit more of a mystery for those of us that are, not living in your world all the time. Let's say I'm ready to take my business to the next level, and it's going to buy some real estate.
Yeah.
What am I looking for down payment-wise? What am I looking at mortgage-wise?
Typically, you're looking at 20% down on a commercial real estate deal, and if you do that, your rates are going to be in the 4 range. Is what we're seeing right now.
And what if I need to do some work? What if it's like dilapidated and I need to fix it up? Can I get more money that way, or does that got to come out of my pocket? Are there ways to make this happen?
Hope you have some cash in your pocket.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm looking at 20% down essentially, no matter what.
Yeah. Plus.
Really? So, I mean, that can be a turnoff for people because, if you're buying $1 million building, that's $200,000 out of the pocket right there. So you do need some cash. But, quite honestly, I think if you're going to make that jump into owning commercial real estate, you probably do need a little cash in your pocket. You don't want to do it where you have zero left over either.
Right.
So what kind of deals do you guys normally work on? What do you guys kind of specialize over at Evan James?
We do everything. We represent landlords, we represent tenants, buyers and sellers. Also, we do financing for our clients. For example, we're helping a long-term car park down by the airport expand and double the amount of stalls that they have available. So we're doing the financing piece. We're representing them on the buy side. We're representing an industrial client who needs more space. They're working with a local hospital here. Their business is booming. We're increasing their space, but to about 25,000 square feet from what they're at currently right now. So that's just some ideas of what we do.
Attorney Justin Clark here with you on ESPN 580 Orlando, Behind the Law. I'm talking to Jeremy Sisson. He's with Evan James and Associates. They're a commercial real estate shop here in Orlando. So let me ask you this. The financing process for getting a house,
Right.
Look, we're all pretty clear about, how that goes. It's going to take 30 days and then you're going to go to closing. You're going to put 3.5% down or maybe a little bit more if you're not using FHA. We all have heard that whole game a million
days, and then 15 to 30 days thereafter, you're typically going to want to have your personal and business tax returns ready for the last 3 years. You're going to need an executive summary. They're going to need CVs on all of the principals on the business. They're going to want to see what you're doing with the money. And so there's a lot more documentation that we need on a commercial real estate financing deal.
What about partners? Let's say that I own my business with two other partners, right? Two of us have good credit. One of us has really terrible credit.
Right.
Do all three partners have to get their credit run and all that, or can you put them out, or how do you do that?
Well, it depends on the percentage of ownership. Typically, the lenders or the bank or the financial institution, they're looking for 51% or more. So if you got somebody that owns, say, 5 or 10% of the business, you could potentially leave them off.
I gotcha. All right, now buying a house. So back to the 30-day thing. When I'm buying a house, I'm going to sign a contract, I'm going to close in 30 days. Of course, it doesn't go exactly 30 days, but you know what I mean. That's the general rule of thumb. We all know it's going to take 30 days to close. And we know we're going to get the inspection, we're going to make sure the mortgage comes in or the appraisal, all that. What's it like in commercial? How long is it normally going to take? And what are some of the differences in that process from contract to closing?
I would probably say it's still 30 to 45 days, and it's still the same process. The appraisal can come short, just like in residential. So maybe somebody has an issue with the escrow deposit. I mean, anything you can see in residential can happen and more. Maybe during due diligence, someone uncovers additional expenses that need to be covered by the seller, and maybe they don't want to pay for that. So that's an additional negotiation.
How are the personalities different in commercial versus residential? Let me explain what I mean. When you're a realtor or a real estate agent and you're representing a seller or a buyer in a house, I mean, this is a really big deal for these people. It can get heated at times. It can get stressful for the buyer and the seller. I think especially the buyer, but the seller as well. It's a stressful time in their life. It should be a happy time, but it does get a little bit heated at times. You know what I mean? It's these little things. Oh, that gutter's messed up. Or, oh, I can't believe they won't pay another $5,000. What is it like personality-wise dealing with buyer and seller on the commercial side versus residential?
Well, I can tell you there's still some personalities involved, for sure, because these are high net worth individuals typically. They're used to having their way. So now you, as a broker, you have to basically negotiate both of those personalities. But in all, I would say there's less emotions involved because really it's a cash flow property. This isn't something that you're going to be living in. So there's less emotion involved in that sense.
All right. So in residential, we oftentimes will start the search for a home on the internet, right?
Yeah.
We'll go to the internet and say, oh, I like that house on Brookside Drive. I'll call it up. And then the listing agent answers the phone. And I called the listing agent directly. So now the listing agent's going to represent the seller and the buyer and me. So that happens sometimes, and it's allowed. It can be a little bit uncomfortable at times, but agents are allowed to do that. What about in commercial? If I'm buying commercial property, do you recommend I let that listing agent represent the seller and myself, or should I have my own broker?
Well, that's called a transactional brokerage, and we do that from time to time. But I think you'll like this analogy being an attorney. It's like going to court without an attorney on your side.
Yeah.
I mean, would you really want to do that? And the answer at the end of the day is no, right? the same thing in commercial real estate. You want to have a broker or an agent who has been in the business for a while that knows what they're doing, especially in that type of product.
We're talking all things commercial real estate here today on Behind the Law with Jeremy Sisson. He's with Evan James and Associates. Jeremy, you're going to play a little game of Stump the Clarkie with me on the other side of this break. And we have plenty more questions. And if you have any questions about commercial real estate, go to @BehindTheLawRadio right now. You can ask us there or give us a call. 321-282-1055. A full half hour ahead of Behind the Law on ESPN 580 Orlando. All right, any special stuff I need to talk about today for you?
Did you see that email I sent you yesterday?
Probably not.
The investor collection.
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Welcome back to the show. It is Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando. My name is attorney Justin Clark. If you have any questions whatsoever, 321-282-1055. The website, youhavepower.com. It's youhavepower.com. We have 2 TV shows for you every single weekend. Saturday, 12:30 p.m. on CBS. It is You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. And then Sunday morning at 10 a.m., it is this show, Behind the Law, but it's Behind the Law on television on TV 27 at 10 a.m. And always throughout the week, you can watch the show at Behind the Law Radio on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, any social media platform. The beautiful Brianna is here today, directly to my right, running the board. How are you, Brianna?
Doing awesome. How are you, Justin?
Good to see you. And we also have a very special guest right across from Brianna on the red microphone. His name is Jeremy Sisson. He is with Evan James and Associates. Jeremy, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
All right, so we're going to play a little game, but first, I want to tell you what we're going to talk about as soon as we play Stump the Clarkie, because I think this is a very important product that you guys are helping bring over to this country, because make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're renting a home right now, the rental market is absolutely fantastic if you're a landlord.
Right.
If you're looking to rent a home right now, the average rent, including one-bedroom apartments in Orlando, is about $1,450 a month. This is getting expensive, and it's getting out of control. And I think most residential realtors will also tell you we continue to be in a seller's market as well, meaning the price of houses have gone up, significantly over the last few years. So it is expensive to live. There's no doubt about it. It's expensive to have a roof over our head. But we have a new product coming over. It's the American Steel Collection. We're really offering the gift and just the awesomeness of home ownership, but at a price point that most of us can't afford. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about exactly how you can get involved and maybe get the home of your dreams for a price much less than you might expect. But first, it's time to play Stump the Clarkie.
All right, and now it's time for Stump the Clarkie. Come on, Clarkie. We need you to get over here. We got some great trivia questions we want you to answer. Come on, Clarkie. Get over here.
All right. We're going to do 4 questions, and we'll come back and score the game. Brianna, dare I ask, what is said category today?
Well, it's all about real estate and affordable housing.
Okay, good job. Great lead into the next segment.
Yeah, you did a good job.
As if we actually planned the segments ahead of time on this show.
What?
I was actually late for the show today, as you know.
You plan? That's not happening. So question 1. What is the value of U.S. commercial construction that has been put into place in 2018?
What?
The value of U.S. commercial construction that has been put into place in 2018. So the value basically of all commercial buildings that were built in 2018. Write it down.
She's your wife, pal.
Is it closest to the pen? Is that how you guys
Yeah,
play?
basically.
Yeah, sorry.
But you can question the questioner.
No, you can't.
Can I Google it?
No.
Oh,
Absolutely
you guys are no
not.
fun.
I'll be honest with you. I still don't quite understand the question, but we'll move on to question 2. I'm feeling nice today. I gave you so much trouble about the freeze-dried strawberries the other night. I want to be nice today.
Now I'm eating an avocado.
It's so weird. I mean, avocados aren't weird. Don't get me wrong. It's sort of a weird snack in the middle of the radio show.
It's not a snack. It's my breakfast.
Okay.
You normally don't watch me eat it, but here we are. Question 2. How many veterans are considered at risk of homelessness due to poverty, lack of support system, and poor living conditions?
A percentage or a number?
It's a number.
Okay.
In the U.S. or in
Correct.
Florida or
In the U.S. How many
US.
veterans are considered at risk of homelessness due to poverty, lack of support systems, and poor living conditions?
It's a very sad question, but a very,
Yeah, it is.
a very, very true issue that we have in this country.
This
There's
is
no
true.
doubt about it.
Absolutely.
very much an issue?
Question number 3. How many commercial buildings are in the U.S.? How many commercial buildings are in the U.S.?
Making me think today.
I know a little bit.
It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando, playing Stump the Clarky, Justin Clark versus Jeremy Sisson of Evan James and Associate, commercial real estate agent. And one final question for tonight's edition of Behind the Law. Go ahead.
How many children live in families with incomes that fall below the federal poverty line?
Ugh, how many? Say that again.
How many children live in families with incomes that fall below the federal poverty line?
How many children?
Families?
How many children?
How many children?
How many children?
Now this question, another sad. You're trying to depress me today. First of all,
First of all,
this is the one thing that makes me so sad is to see people in poverty, people going through such a tough time.
This is
Because that's
true.
what I do for a living. Essentially, is I'm helping people that are going through a tough time. It makes me nuts. It makes
That's
me crazy.
right. Yeah.
And this number is going to be higher than you think.
It is. Just really got to ring the bell on what's really going on with affordable housing, guys.
Put down the answer and then add an extra 100
Yeah.
million.
Yeah, I hope not. But all right, you guys ready to score this game? Stump the Clarky for a Friday night, I think. I don't even know what day it is. All right, question number 1. What was it? This was a very long question, too.
Question number 1. What is the value of U.S. commercial construction that was put into place in 2018?
Jeremy Sisson, Evan James and Associates. What did you say?
I said 1.2 trillion.
1.2 trillion. I went a little bit lower, 800 billion with a B. What's the right answer?
That would be 90 billion.
90. We were way
We weren't even close.
I mean, I win, but I don't really deserve
You
the
guys
point.
are out here
We
just
He's too far from the pin on this one.
We overestimated.
just a little bit.
I hate taking the point, but I will.
No, you will.
That means I took the point. All right, go ahead. Question number 2.
Question 2. How many veterans are considered at risk of homelessness due to poverty, lack of support systems, and poor living conditions?
Very, very, very serious issue that we got to look at in this country. I went with 3 million.
3 million.
What do you have, Jeremy?
I put 8.
8 million. What is the correct answer?
That would be 1.4 million.
1.4 million. Okay, well, I'm glad we were both too high on that at least. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
don't worry. You can
the
get,
bright side,
if
I
you hit
suppose.
one right on the nose here, you get 2 points and you can tie this game up.
Tie it up.
All right, question number 3.
Question 3. How many commercial buildings are there in the United States?
All right, Jeremy Sisson, Evan James and Associates. What did you say?
20 million.
20 million. I went just a tiny bit lower with 18 million. What is the right answer?
The correct answer is 7 million.
7 million.
Jeez.
Oh, man.
Redo this.
I hope I don't skunk
I don't
you
think
here.
either
I really
of us
don't.
be getting points here.
I know. I know. All right. So the final question tonight, Brianna, what did you have?
How many children live in families with income that fall below the federal poverty line?
I went with 25 million children out there that are living below the poverty line.
Wow.
That might be too much. What did you have?
I said 180
100,
million.
180 million? I don't think there are that many children.
Yeah,
in
so
the
that's
country.
all the children.
You said children per household. So there's 2 or 3 children per household.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, what's the right answer?
15 million.
15 million. All right.
Little off.
Thank you for playing. That's all right. Hey.
Still in a T.
I mean, you know, I'm sorry, man. We'll get you back on the show and we'll play again. How was that?
This game is rigged.
I know, yeah, it's not really rigged, but hey, she trust me.
Look, if you would have won, he would have said the game was rigged, okay? So this is
unbelievable.
how it is.
All right, so we're talking to Jeremy Sisson here. He's with Evan James and Associate. He's a commercial real estate agent here in town. Jeremy.
Yeah.
We're talking about all of these children who live in poverty. We're talking about our veterans who are at risk of living below the poverty line.
Right.
What in the world can we do about it? And I understand you guys have a program coming up that really could make home ownership affordable for all of us.
We do, actually.
Tell
it's
me.
called the American Steel Collection. Our brokerage actually inked a 10-year exclusive contract to represent an overseas manufacturer who's been doing this for 10, 15 years. They haven't done anything in the United States yet. And so what we're offering is a modular home that's all steel built. And it's a 2-bedroom up to a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. You can have a garage or not. So here's the thing. The price point of what we've negotiated for the American market is anywhere between $92,000 and $150,000. Our most expensive property is $150,000. We have an investor class where everything's $107,000 per unit. So in essence, we're basically looking and we're working to make the American dream happen again for the middle market of America.
So that same house that I can get for about $150,000, I mean, what do you think it would cost me to build a similar house?
If you're doing stick built, you're in the $130 to $200 per square foot.
Yeah.
We're bringing to market the steel framed for less than $80 a square foot.
Wow. When does this happen? When are we going to start this?
It's already happened.
Oh, good.
We already have tons of orders coming in.
If you're looking for a new home and the prices have just seemed a little bit outrageous for you, we're going to tell you how to get involved with this new product for very nice houses, but for way less money. One more segment ahead. It's Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando.
Take it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. There are 2 stories somewhere?
That's the investor class.
Oh.
I'll show you the.
This thing's not working well at all.
That's the actual residential.
Oh, cool.
Oh, the
Yeah. That's why I couldn't do any outro or anything.
It's very nice.
sitting on for a little bit.
It's not your typical affordable
Right.
housing. It's high end.
All right. You guys ready?
Sure. Let's land this plane.
Huh?
So yeah, let's land this plane.
Let's land the plane.
Now back to Behind the Law with Justin Clark, right here on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Welcome back to the program. One more segment ahead of Behind the Law right here on ESPN 580 Orlando. It is attorney Justin Clark. If you have any questions, 321-282-1055. Brianna's to my right, and just across the desk from her, it is Jeremy Sisson with Evan James and Associates. We're talking commercial real estate, but we're also talking about a deal that his company is working on right now that's going to bring the dream of home ownership to America, but at an affordable price. The average rental rate in Orlando right now is about $1,450 a month. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is including like a one-bedroom apartment. The one-bedroom apartments are averaging about $1,300 a month. It's insane. And I think most people will also agree that we're still in a little bit of a seller's market if you're out there buying as well. So if we're really on a tight income, and we don't want to rent anymore, though, which, half of it, most of us don't really want to rent anymore. What are the options? And we're about to announce an option right now that there's a 98% chance you've never heard of it before. Jeremy, tell me about the American Steel Collection.
The American Steel Collection is something brand new to the United States. Our brokerage is representing an overseas manufacturer. Everything is steel framed. You can have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, up to a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. So here's the thing, to talk about the price point you just said on a 1-bedroom, we can actually get someone into a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2-car garage. Take a guess what the PITI plus PMI is.
$1,200.
$1,250 a month.
Wow.
And that's
I was
on
going
a 30.
low,
It's on a
just because.
30-year fix. It's a construction one-time close, construction to perm loan. So you don't have. You can build anywhere as well. You can build on lots. These are great for investors. These are great for homeowners, direct homeowners. They can call us as well.
Okay, yeah, but look, I know what you're bringing. You're bringing me one of these like single-wide mobile homes, aren't you?
Nope, it's
What is
not
it?
manufactured homing. It's modular homes that are done in a strict environment, in a warehouse overseas that's put together, and then it's shipped in a 40-foot container. It's sealed, and it doesn't get opened until the general contractor at the site opens the containers. And it takes 2 weeks to put together. It's like a Lego set.
Is there a way I can see some pictures of this, or can we post them somehow on Behind the Law? How can we do this? I mean,
Sure.
I know there are a lot of people right now who probably want to see pictures. Is there anywhere I can go, or can I call you and you send them to me? How can I really see these places?
So they can go to Evan James and Associates or ejrealestate.com. If they have interest, they can email info@ejrealestate.com. There's pictures there. We can also get them our marketing and pricing package, and we have a ton of pictures that they can see.
So how does it really happen? I mean, so they are put on one of these huge boats and sent over here? I mean, what? I don't understand. How do we get a house from wherever they're built to here?
Right. So basically, it's off the shelf. You go into our marketing package, you select whichever one you want. We have different options, right? You can have a vaulted ceiling, you can have a second floor, no second floor. It's whatever you want to do. So it's a little bit customizable in that sense.
Yeah.
And so we then work with the manufacturer. We put the order in. It comes over on the ship. We take control over it at the Port of Everglades, and it comes into the home. And then your GC works it from there.
Really?
Yeah.
So the time frame from when I come to see you and place the order until the home's delivered, what sort of time frame are we looking at?
4 months,
Okay.
start to finish.
And then once it arrives, how long before we piece it together?
So we always recommend that the GC you're working with have everything ready. Have the slab work done, have the site ready, have the permitting done, have everything capped in terms of the plumbing. So everything's done ahead of time. And as soon as this unit gets there, this 40-foot container, the GC basically puts it together with their team.
Is this good for someone who maybe, has had this lot up in the woods and they've, the kids are out of school now and they're ready to retire, but they don't want to take the time to go hire a GC to build a new entire house? I mean, is this good for someone like that?
If they have the skill set, they could do that, absolutely. We have a couple clients who are former GCs, and they're doing it themselves. We're doing custom builds for them right on the lake.
Yeah.
But I would say if you don't have that skill set, if you're not a former GC or you don't have that type of experience, you're going to have to hire some people to help you out.
I don't even mean, the GC part of it. We can hire a GC to put it together, but I just have so many people who have been holding on to, like, their dream lot out in the woods for so many years. They bought it for $5,000, but they needed to stay in Orlando to raise the kids, to send the kids to school. But now the kids are off to college or done with college, and they really want to go move into the woods somewhere in Ocala or whatever.
Sure.
I mean, is this an option for someone like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. Wherever they want to put it, literally you can put this anywhere. We're working with clients on the West Coast. They're putting it literally on a mountain range.
Really?
But you can put it in an infill in Winter Park as well. You can put it anywhere you want because the designs, when you go to the website, you're going to see they're very nice. It's high quality, innovative stuff.
How do I go about buying the lot? I mean, do I have to then buy the lot cash, or can I try to get financing for that and the lot? How does it work financing-wise? Do you know?
That's the beauty of the one-time close construction loan. It's actually done once, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. So our home, everything that goes into our home, plus the lot, plus all the expenses for architects, engineers, GCs, everything's included in one deal.
Wow. How long do you think it normally takes to build a house from start to finish? Like, a regular home that's being built from ground up,
Yeah.
from start to finish.
Well, it depends on how quick everybody responds. The communication time is key with all the parties involved. But, I mean, my brother's building one in Texas, and it's taken him, 12 months already?
Yeah.
6 to 12 months on the low end.
And then this you can have done in
4 months.
4 months, huh? And again, tell me about the price points on these one more time.
So the lowest that we have is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath called the Chromium. It's about 1,100 square feet. It's $92,500. The largest that we have is the Iron Ore 2. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,100 square feet for $149,500.
How do I know the quality is there on these things? Well, I mean, what sort of guarantees are there that this isn't just some piece of crap and it's going to fall apart on me?
Well, it's not manufactured home. It's modular. There's nothing different between a stick built that you would typically see. It's basically the type of product that's being used. So it's not wood; it's just steel, and that's the only difference. And it's done in a controlled environment, in a lab, basically overseas,
Right.
and then it's shipped to us. So also we have, just so you know, on this, we also send over, you get a 3 kilowatt solar panel system. You get a security system with a free year of monitoring. You get stainless steel refrigerator, freezer, dishwasher, stove, all the range appliances. We send over a ductless heating AC unit. And we also send over electric tankless water heater. So the point here is not only bringing something to the American market that is at a great price point to help with the American dream, but it's also making it as efficient as possible. So we include the solar and everything with it.
Behind the Law, ESPN 580 Orlando, Justin Clark, the beautiful Brianna.
Yes. I was really wondering. We live in Florida, and
really?
there's this little thing called hurricanes.
Oh, yeah.
So if you put something together, you say modular housing, I start thinking about Legos, and I can imagine Legos in a hurricane. What happens there?
Okay, so here's how this happened. The manufacturer was actually...
Was this a setup question? I feel like you guys
it sounds like it
planned
was,
this
but
before.
I
I feel like
promise you
before
it
the show,
wasn't.
you're like,
We did.
Jeremy was like, Brianna, ask me this.
Nah.
It's
Okay.
a great question because the manufacturer was actually contracted by governments in the Caribbean to build a product that can withstand a Category 4 hurricane. So our products literally are a fortress. It's a Category 4 and an EF5 tornado proof.
When a hurricane comes through, are you guys on the hurricane party zone, or are you on the get the heck out of here zone? What's your normal instinct?
I normally just defer to my husband, whatever he wants to do.
Husband?
It depends on the storm. We've rode all of them out actually
Really?
recently, yeah.
Not by
We
choice.
stay put.
See, I moved here in 2006, and I think that right before that was when they had all, like 2003 or 4 were when the bad ones really came through here.
2004 was rough.
So the first one I really remember was, I think, Matthew, which had kind of come up the East Coast like 3 years ago, and I got the hell out of Dodge for that one.
nothing
It was
happened.
nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, we didn't
absolutely
even lose
nothing.
power. But then I rode out, was it Irma?
Irma.
was
Yeah,
the
we
next
rode
one. I
that
rode
out,
that
too.
out too.
Yeah.
So I don't
depends.
know. I think it just totally depends. If you want to make a quick vacation out of it, nothing wrong with that. But I really love this product, Jeremy Sisson. So it's affordable housing, but it's really, really, really nice. I mean, you've shown me pictures here. I mean, this is like trendy, nice stuff that you guys are selling here. I mean, it's really good. If I want to go see pictures, what's the website? What's the phone number for Jeremy Sisson?
EJArealestate.com. EJRealestate.com and 407-986-1044.
If you're looking for affordable housing, especially if you've got like a lot that you've just been dying to go build something on, but you don't want to go through the entire process of building a home, this product might just be for you. Or if you're interested in commercial real estate, reach out to Jeremy Sisson, Evan James and Associates. Excellent job today. We'll have you back soon, buddy. Good to see you. For the beautiful Brianna, my name is Justin Clark. And Brianna, I don't know much, but I do know one little teeny tiny thing.
What's that?
I'll see you right back here on Monday for another edition of Behind the Law on ESPN 580 Orlando.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.